Extremely exposed. DJ Cars zip on it.
Yeah, victory no still. Wake up boy, it was a renza.
Welcome back. Tabweran Sokuli Excel. So what are we going to look at today? Today we'll be looking at what we call workspace. And one would want to define what is a workspace. A workspace is just a space used or required for one's work. So if you have a carpenter, what's your workspace? So like the space you need, the area you need to work. So in Excel we're going to look at the workspace. Alright? So today we're looking at workspace. So I'm opened Excel, I'm just waiting for it to load. Okay, so I'm going to work with a blank document. Okay, so what is a workspace? The workspace is everything here that you're seeing, from the ribbon all the way to these to my boxes. What are these boxes? These areas here. Okay, I don't want to update. Updates are available. Update for Office are ready to be installed, but first we need to close some apps. No, should have worked update first up. Then to last update limbi. Alright, so the first thing we'll look at on our workspace in Excel is what we call the name box. The name box. Name box is a box carry up which has A1. Okay. The name box displays the currently selected cell. Okay. I'll tell you later on in the video what a cell is. So the first thing we have is the name box. Langana pali ribbon. You remember this is the ribbon. In the previous video we had this ribbon. So we have the first part here down here which we call the name box. So the name box just basically displays the current selected cell. Then the next thing we have in here, this is what we call the formula bar. This here is what we call the formula bar. These two, where there's this X, the cancel, the enter, insert function. This is what we call the formula bar. This is where you'll be putting all your formulas in Excel. When we reach the advanced stages, you understand what these formulas are. So if, for example, you want to do addition, so it will be a plus. This is where it goes in here. So for example, you want to do a cell, one cell, you want to add these two cells to give you the sum of two numbers. This is where the formulas will be. So to display numbers, text, or formulas that are currently selected in a cell and allows you to edit it. It's just like a text box or a worksheet where you put your formulas. Okay, then there's this part now. Now if you notice kulka box ka green whenever I select a cell. A cell palut mabo box. A cell is basically what we call ka box kamos. Kamera ka box. Okay, ka box come off a box. If you select that, we call it a cell, and all these here together in the Excel, it's the worksheet. There are a lot of cells here, and each cell has a name, which was from the name box. So, for example, this cell that I've selected is A1. That's the name of the cell. If I select this one, you find that it's E6. That's the name of the cell. So these here are cells. Okay, and remember the selected cell always has a dark green border. Okay, you can see it, it's green in color, it's even changing of shape. All right, then if you notice gamalangana, there are numbers okay, and they are letters. So Excel is categorized into, there's a column, okay, so columns run from top to bottom. All right, so A is a column, so A is sorted down. These are columns, okay, so those are the columns. And then my letters are, those are what we call column labels. These, they identify each column with a letter, okay. If you select or click on the column or the label here, if you click on C or D or E, it will select the entire column. So these labels range high. So there's this AX, AY, AZ, then you come to B. So the columns are numbered alphabetically, okay. Then these numbers here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, remember columns, they come down here. These are columns. Then we have rows. These 1 2 3 4, those are the number of rows. And then the numbers themselves, we call those row labels, okay. So rows and columns. So when labeling them, we'll start with the column name. So A1. So this cell or box kamozi has a name. So a cell is made up the intersection of the column and the rows. So this cell is intersecting here, which is B3. That's why we call it a cell, because it's an intersection of where B and the columns meet. So if you select this one, this box kamozi, which we are calling a cell, this is M9. So the M9 is selected. Then the other option that we have is just here. We have sheet 1. We call that the worksheet. Okay, so the worksheet is like the sheet you're working with. If it's in an office, maybe it's the book you're using. School is just a book, or the page, or the folder, the file. So this is one worksheet. So this worksheet, you can rename it. You can just right click there. You can rename, you can copy, you can, view it. So this is what we call the worksheet. So here you can have several worksheets. So maybe here I write this one, I can rename it to budget. The worksheet 2, I can rename it to the master file or inventory. Okay, maybe worksheet 3, we can rename it to deliveries. All right, so okay, S, you can have it anyway. All right, so we're going back to the worksheet. So we call that the worksheet. Then the other part that we have on this Excel worksheet is this part here. We call this the scroll bar. So if you notice, it ranges from 1 to 29, and then it's from A to W. So what happens when you move the scroll bar? It extends. So the scroll bar has this bottom scroll bar that is responsible for moving the columns, and then we have equal right, which is responsible for moving the rows. So there will be instances where if you have entries more than 30, so if you go down, you click there, you can have as many entries as possible, and thousands of them. So you find that the entries are more. And how do you get to those entries? Is by moving this scroll bar here. Same applies to the columns. So if you want to go back to the A, you can move the scroll bar. Okay, then below here we have what we call the view tools. Okay, the view tools. So what are the view tools? So there's a thin line. I don't know if you can see that thin line that's demarcating the view tools. So at the far right, okay, we call it the status bar. Okay, this part is called the status bar. So this is where you find the view tools. So at the far left, we have what we call the current information. So it says our Excel is ready. If it's not ready, you would have seen it loading. Okay, so if it's not ready, to give you the status. Then on the far right, we have the views. Okay, so we have different views. We have, this is the normal view. This is the view which you find by default, and it's one that we'll be working with most of the times. Even during the advanced stages, we'll be working with it. So it just simply displays this outlook that we have. Then the second one, or the second view, we have what we call the page layout. So it shows your spreadsheet will look like when you print on a paper. So when I click the page layout, okay, you find that this is how it will look when we print it on a piece of paper. Then the third one that we have is the page break view. Okay, so this one allows you to add page breaks to your spreadsheet so that you can better control what parts of the spreadsheet are printed on each paper. So in case you want to demarcate one spreadsheet into different pages, you can use this option, the page break view. Okay, so I'll go back to the normal view. Then on this last part that we have here, we call that the zoom slider. Okay, so the zoom slider will either zoom in, it's zoom ngakulise or chepesa. So if I zoom out, on the left you have the zoom out options. You will notice that tumacells chepa maningi. Okay, so that's the zooming out. Normal is at 100%. You can check the percentages there. So zooming in, uvikulisa. Zooming out, so that's that option that's there. Okay, so if you want, you can customize the status bar by right clicking. So if you right click on the status bar, you can tick all these options. You can have as many options as you wish, but I'd like to leave it at default for now so that it's easy. Okay, so this is about the workspace. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll come and look at the next video where we'll talk about Excel cases. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.
Extremely exposed DJ Kazi Pandit.
Yeah, victory no still. Wake up boy, iwasebenza. Jara do we try kubaza. Bafuna mwana nikukosa. Kulimba, nikushansha. Wanna live a good life. Kukwata stata. Wanna have a good wife. Kukwata stata. Wanna make it in life. Put it hard. Kukwata stata. Wanna make it in life.